Hi guys, and we're gonna do some. Today we're gonna do something different. Yeah, sorry for my mix up there. Today we're gonna do something different, which is like pretty much just studying slash watching animations. I usually just do it for the watching of the animation, so you guys would just be seeing me watch it instead of seeing me how I break it down and how I will go about replicating that process myself. Afterwards, you guys can suggest any anime or any animation that you guys might have in mind, and I will deeply go into it and break down how it worked and everything using Blender grease pencil feature. I'll import the video into this into Blender, and then I'll show you how you will go about doing very similar effect in Blender grease pencil. Obviously, this is to any viewers that are mainly watching this video because they're into the idea of potentially becoming a 2D animator or maybe a 3D animator. And you know that this is where you will go about doing it. Now, first things first, let's go on to my draw view, which is this one. And as you may notice, the camera changed for me. I'm actually gonna be staring over here, and we're gonna be watching my animation. Well, not my animation, but watching anime here. I'll just be showing you little clips, obviously for copyright reasons, uh, and it'll be scaled down, so it's not completely to the size of everything. And on top of that, uh, this is for learning purposes, not for you to actually just watch anime. Although there are things that I do recommend that you do, so then you can you know better your lives in the long run. Like for example, this. You may notice that this is not any usual browser, but this is actually called the Brave browser. With Brave, I actually earned crypto during the time that I'm actually browsing and doing my research, or heck, even watching anime. I use Anime Kissa, which not very. It's it's a pirating. It's essential what it is. A free website that allows you to watch anime in it. But now with the Brave browser, there's a perk because it blocks all the ads to this. You don't get any of the inappropriateness that you would when watching anime or watching anything. So let's watch certain shows that I personally like to watch. I just pretty much continue with a show that I've been watching, but I won't be watching anything new in case it might be a spoiler for anybody that's into this series. Hopefully, that's not too much of a spoiler, and you know, we'll continue from there. So let's see if I can find a show that I've been watching, but I need to catch up with. Uh, hmm, Let me pause it for a sec while I think of a show. So I've settled on a show to watch, and it's gonna be this one. It's called Kanata no Astra, and it's dubbed, so it'll be in English for all the American viewers out there. This is for you. And this is the first episode. As you may notice, there's no ads. If I click play, it's just gonna start playing, and you may hear some of the sound from it. I think. Yeah, it seems like you guys can't really hear the sound. You just hear me talking, which is not. Go back a little bit there. If you look at this clothing right here, this is gonna be kind of important for a lot of people whenever you're animating scenes like it has clothing. You notice how it's like very interesting odd shapes. You just gotta have to. You mainly just have to focus on the patterns and the textures, because this right here could literally be a blanket. This right here is clearly a bag, or if you think about it in a different sense, that's a sausage right there. With its little string and the little thing, and then that I don't know what it is. That looks like a purse. That looks like some sort of penguin looking thingy. And yeah, let's continue with the moment where he's. That's really simple. All you're doing is animating a guy just doing this. Just like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's probably like 3 or 4 frames, and it just like loops back and forth. And then you have this lady in the corner right here taking a picture. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. Ignore all the notifications that pop up. So yeah, and this scene right here where the waterfall is happening, that is kind of easy to animate, but at the same time it's not, depending on what you're trying to do. You first have to go about determining the shape, which if you think about it, this kind of looks like a giant jelly. Kind of like rounds up, but then like it goes up and then it kind of does this, and then it rounds in the top. So jelly right there. And yeah. Now, if you don't notice, sorry if you guys heard that. Um, if you don't notice, is most of anime tends to animate in the sense of three mouth shapes: open, medium close, and close. And then they just repeat those depending how much the person's talking. If they're talking a lot, it's probably like medium and fully open. It's like, and if they're taking a break, they just like close up the mouth. It's not like our mouths where they just like kind of like do all sorts of you know like uh, that kind of shapes. Like if I'm talking, you might notice that my mouth does all kinds of shapes through it. It doesn't just like, yeah, like when I said through it, it like my lips instantly puckered up like through it. You see? It is that sort of thing that whenever you're doing 3D animation, you gotta pay attention to, because if you don't pay attention to it, it'll kind of lose its realism. But when you're doing 2D animation, that it is kind of like an anime, you don't have to focus on that as much. Uh, mm, mm. Okay, so we'll continue with the show. So it seems like this cop things are coming over. Let's analyze how they did this. Okay, so it seems like they just have the basic drawing, which they kind of look like 3D models, but they're probably not. Or maybe they are. It's possible that they are from multiple angles, and they only just have to draw one, and then they could just position it however they want. If this is something that they're animating a lot of, they just draw it once and then they just repeat it over and over, or not necessarily draw it, but 3D model it once, which is very simple. This right here, it looks like a cylinder with a ball on the bottom, and it looks like it has a little skirt with some shapes right here. Really simple. And a simple toon shader, where it's mainly one color, and then everything here is like another shader. And then this right here, since it's underneath the skirt, then it's just gonna be dark. Although if you look at it very closely, it has its own a small amount of rim light right there, or not rim light, shade right here. This corner, also in here, because early on they have determined the light is coming from here and it's heading it here. Surprisingly, the shadow for this is in front, not in back. But beside the point, it's simple animation, so it's not gonna be accurate. For doing this, all I need to do is have the character kind of looks like they may have used like a 3D model at first, and then they just drew the character on top of the 3D model, and then they just had like an extra effect of like tinting everything orange or slight orange to yellow, and then having all this recreate something like that really simple. Go to 2D animation, and then what you gotta do is, first things first, for me, I'm gonna scale up my brush maybe like that big so that you guys can kind of see how big it is. And first thing first, so I gotta draw simple shape. It's gonna be something like this, and then the head right here, and maybe put a hat on him, right? Uh, but I gotta do like much more professional looking shapes. That neck. Erase some of it. Just the way that everything's angled. This would be where the ears at. You can't really see it, but we're not supposed to see the face. So maybe kind of like that. Yeah, something like that. And I'm not gonna have it. I'm gonna just have his hand kind of like down, kind of like the character was, and then other shoulder right here. Whenever you're drawing, you kind of figure out the shapes as you go. I'm drawing this simple thing right here, but at the same time, it's not very simple. I'm trying to draw it as quickly as possible for your sake. And what I'm gonna do is I gotta essentially take this drawing and then I'm gonna bring it all the way to let me go back to the beginning and then press edit mode, and then I'm gonna press A, G, and then bring it from here, scale it up a little bit more, G, scale it down a little bit because I want to make sure I get some detail, and then I'm gonna go. How long did it took him? Like 2 seconds to get from one spot to the other. So 2 seconds in the sense of 24 frames per second is about uh, 48 seconds. 48 frames. Oh, almost had it. So I'm 48 frames, right? So I'm gonna put 48 frames. Or you know what? I'm gonna put 55 for the ending. But I'm 40. No, not 455. 55. Just so it could stand there for a little bit. So, and 40, not 48, right? I have this drawing. And I make sure that it is, what's it called? It's being transferred over. What the heck? Yeah. There's G, and then bring it over. And I bring it all the way towards like middle, towards end, and then I gotta scale it down a little. G, bring it there, and I gotta leave it right there. So essentially, right here, I want to have it kind of like go from one spot to the other. So when it hits 24 frames, so I want to have it somewhere in the middle. So press G, have it right dead center. Maybe scale it down a little, not too much. And it kind of gives the illusion that it's like dot 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 every second. Okay, here it's gonna go G, bring it there, and then bring it down a little, scale it down a little, just not too much, and then same thing here, somewhere in the middle, here, press G, same thing, bring it over here, so and then scale it down, just not too much, just like that. You kind of have them kind of like bouncing, and if you play that animation, it looks very simple, but check this out. Here, do a really quick effect, which is like essentially in between this what the in between animators would do. But in my case, I'm kind of lazy, so I'm just gonna do this, which is it's essentially an in between thing effect, which is right here. I think it is interpolate sequence. The interpolate sequence for Windows, you gotta press Control Shift E if I'm correct. or yeah, Control Shift E. And then here I gotta have it be every two frames. So yeah, every 2 frames, and I want it to be yeah linear. So it's like very simple. And now I gotta do the same thing here. Yes, and then here also, and here, and just like that. Now it looks kind of weird because it's interpolating too much. So what I'm gonna do is press to interpolate again, but this time I'm gonna do every 4 frames. Then I bring this one a little bit outward, kind of like that, and then do the same thing. Interpolate, interpolate, and here interpolate also, and then just like that. Now we got this kind of effect going on. And I go back onto draw mode so you guys can kind of see it. And I could zoom into any of this. You guys can kind of see how the interpolation goes. And simple for the other person. The other person was kind of just standing there, so I draw the other person. Very simple. I'm gonna do this one in line layer, and just to distinguish them apart, I add just a different brush. So I'm gonna do this one kind of like this. Maybe yeah. This is his chest, his arms, no, his shoulders. No, area. And then I just kind of like figure out how neck is gonna be or to everything. Maybe make his head kind of like a little bit bigger. Maybe this guy has like spiky hair or something, or like yeah. So yeah, it's kind of like that. And then yeah, I think his shoulder is way too far off. Maybe something like that would be more realistic to the character. And just like that, I already got that scene kind of planned out. And I press play. This character is going to the other one. I feel like this character, yeah, it's just stay exactly the same way it is. If not, I could always just press edit mode. I go back and press A. Make sure I lock the other layer and then press scale. Bring it down just a little bit and then I go back to edit draw mode and then just like that. Certain scenes could take literally a couple seconds to create, but this of course is the rough animation. The rough animation usually doesn't take too long. In this case it took me like what 10 minutes to make this rough animation, but after I go into the detailed stage and I do coloring, that part is the part that takes the longest. So yeah, that pretty much concludes the video for today. If you guys liked how I went about teaching you guys or breaking down certain sections, not necessarily going about it in the animation itself and then breaking down the scenes, but like talking about how the scenes could have been made possibly, and then how I would go about animating certain other scenes, just like how this it was done. Just let me know, and I go on to it. Let me go onto my face cam so you guys can see who you guys are talking and who you guys are listening to. So if you guys did like this, make sure to leave a like. If you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe. I will want to watch more anime, so I'll keep watching this one. And if I do like it, I'll recommend it, and I'll put the name down below, like the name of the anime that I watched. Not necessarily, I won't go out of my way to put the website because I know how people feel about clicking on certain links, and if they don't recognize it, it's unsafe. You know, I would never go out of my way to send you any links out there other than links to like YouTube videos. That's about it. Uh, and yeah, if you guys liked it, make sure to leave a like and have a good one. Have a good day. Have a good afternoon, depending on where in the world you are. And goodbye. Peace.
Thanks for watching. If you liked it, consider subscribing or leaving a like. And check out those videos if you enjoyed and stood until the end. Thank you and goodbye.